Hi, welcome to the Kona Electric. This is my Kona. It's a 2019 uh, version. It has, of course, the screen. It's a little larger screen than the standard. It's got the full features. Lots of buttons to push. Lots of buttons in this car. Just to give you a heads up and warning, I guess. All the air conditioning, air heating is all here. The drive buttons are all here on the console. Those are okay. The parking brake is on the side here. Um, the buttons that I tend to hit without realizing are the heat, making the seat warmer, the heater for the seat, or the cooler for the seat, which is a nice feature. But in the wintertime, when you push this and don't realize it, it's, all of a sudden the seat's cold. That can be problematic. But I just am aware of those are there. Of course, the screen, the buttons on the steering column, there's buttons on the side here, and buttons again on the door. All kinds of features and things I don't even use on it, but I should have charged it up. Right now we have a total of 181 miles of range. That's what we're looking at right now. I drove it 140 miles yesterday, so that was a total of about 320. I get about 300 and over 300 for the on the car. We're starting our trip today with 0. We've been 3 minutes trying to get this started. Anyway, it shows the temperature and the miles on the odometer so far. I've got 48,121 miles.
You drive a lot.
I drive a lot. Before COVID hit, I was driving at least 1,000 miles a week for work. So I'm all over the place with it, 250 miles a day sometimes. The most I've ever driven was 342 miles and had 22 miles left on the battery when I got home. So it always gives you an estimate of how much mileage you have left on the battery. That's the very top, that button there, or that number at the top. It's usually pretty accurate too, and it gauges itself and refigures. If you're doing really good and very efficient, if you're in high traffic areas and moving slow, boy, it refigures for you and calculates you get better mileage. And if you're really moving fast, 70 miles an hour or faster, the mileage will drop maybe a little bit. But I've always gotten over 258 miles. I've never come under what the manufacturer says is the expected range. I've always gotten way over it. So sometimes up to close to 100 miles over per battery charging. So that's the car in a nutshell. Now let's go for a drive. You ready?
Well, let me keep up with.
Okay. And you can ask your questions. And nothing hard that I will fail with, right? Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So I'm putting it. Oh, by the way, it has drive mode down here. It's one of the features in the buttons here on the console. I always use eco mode. I just don't.
Show them what it looks like
Okay.
when you pull it
When I
on the
change it,
screen.
this is the regular drive mode. It changes the screen. Oh, sorry about that. It changes the screen, how it looks and everything. And then if I push it again, it goes into sport mode. I only use that if I'm trying to merge onto the freeway really quick. I mean, it takes off right away.
Or at a stoplight and somebody beside you is gunning their engine like there's something big.
Don't tell them that.
But then you leave them in the dust.
Yeah, really, it pulls away from any car. I've never had any problem getting away or moving and getting in front of someone when I put it in sport mode. But I always leave it in eco mode, and it just does better, and it makes me feel like I'm helping the environment. I didn't initially want to buy an electric car for the environment. It was more for the money savings, but now that I have one, I was like, oh my, I'm not producing all these fumes and gas pollution, and I like it now. I really like it. So let's start in. I'm going to put it in
That's the backup camera.
reverse.
It's very helpful for parking.
Oh, it
grid
is.
lines.
It tells you when I'm curving and when I'm making any type of movement where it's going to end up. Parking is a snap with this, and I'm backing in anywhere. And here we go. So, you said you had some questions to ask me?
Why, certainly.
You do? Okay.
Is the Kona Electric more expensive than regular gas cars?
Well, it depends. Some of the regular gas cars, if you get the higher end cars that are internal combustion engine cars, they can be pretty pricey, a lot more than some of your high-end electric cars too. So it depends on what kind of car you're going for. The Kona that we have is the high end of the Kona. There are 3 different models or versions, and we got the highest end version because I was going to be driving the socks off of it, and I have. And it's pretty comparable in terms of price, but not only is it just the price that you pay when you purchase it, there's also the $7,500 tax credit that you can get. Still, Hyundai Kona, the Hyundai brand has that available on all their electric cars, whereas Tesla and I think it's GM or Nissan, they've expired or they're close to it. There's a couple of them that are getting close. The Bolt, the GM. Anyway, so there's some of it you will not get that tax credit. You can still get that on the Hyundai, so it's still available, and that was a big help. It pulled it down that much more. If you have that much of a tax liability, that can be a really good incentive.
Can I add about the budget savings?
Yes.
What I've budgeted for gasoline for all our vehicles. As soon as we got the Kona, it was an immediate savings of about 75% of our gasoline budget. And even still, I have too much in the budget, so to speak, more than what we need. So the savings are at least 75% for us. And that translates to about $3,600 a year.
Just on gasoline?
Just on gasoline.
Just on gasoline. No.
Maintenance, there are no maintenance costs because you don't have any oil changes. You don't have any, what's the other big
no radiator flushing,
none of that.
No oil changes, no spark plugs, nothing that you're typically having to take it in for. No regular scheduled maintenance other than just making sure it still works and your tires are good and your fluids are filled up.
You only find a smoother road.
Oh, sorry.
I'm bouncing all over the place.
Let me go down Harbaugh.
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Haven't been up this way for a long time. But then, so it's just not only the gas savings, and it's hundreds of dollars every month that we're saving on gasoline, but that's because I drive a long way every time or every week.
So as soon as you weren't buying gas, it made a big difference. We still have other gasoline-powered cars, but still, the budget's not near what it was before. Very minimal.
Yep.
Next question?
Next.
How far does the Kona Electric go on a full battery?
Well, there you go. They say 258 miles. That's what the manufacturer says is their typical range. I have never gotten as low as 258. On a full charge, I can go over 300, even when using air conditioning and or heating, which drains your battery more, of course. The air conditioning is, and the heating are all using, on the high-end version, I guess, they're all using a heat pump, so it's much more efficient than an typical electrical heater. Uses resistance heating, which drains your battery that much sooner. So, my typical range is about 320, I would say, on a full battery charge. But the most I've ever gotten was 342 miles, and I had 22 miles left over, which would have made it 364, which is over 100 more than the manufacturer that says the car will have.
Now that's telling him he's crossing the center line and get back in line.
I'm in line now.
Well, speaking of charging your car, how long does it take to charge your car?
Well, I don't sit there and babysit it. So I really don't know. I've never really done that. I just go home and plug it in, and in the morning it's ready to go. So it takes me, when I get home, about 15 seconds to get out of the car, take the charger and plug it into the front. And then when I get up in the morning and ready to go, it takes me about 15 seconds to take the charger out. I'll unplug the car and then plug it, put it on the holder on the side of the house. So I don't measure those. I mean, what really takes me extra time is those 15 seconds here or there, twice a day. Very minimal. The rest of the night when I'm sleeping, it's charging, so I'm good to go.
It also depends on where your battery level is when you start. So if you're close to empty, we've noticed it could be anywhere from 2 to 7 hours of charge time. The lower end, of course, meaning they have more range left over at the end of the day, and there's the torque. And then the longer time being that his battery is more depleted.
And it depends too what type of chargers you use. I have a level 2 charger, which means it's 240 volts, which is your typical washer or dryer, a standard dryer in your house, the voltage it uses. So it charges the battery. It's usually, like you said, 2 to 7 hours. Depends on how much the battery is depleted. But then there are chargers that are even faster, and that's if you're doing longer trips and have to stop and charge and get in the car and keep going. They're scattered all over the country. Most of them are for pay, but there are some that are free.
And they're easy to find.
They're easy to find with different apps. You can find them all over the place. The closest one to me here is Hagerstown, and it's free. It's absolutely free for the charge. It's right downtown in the parking lot. I've been there before, and they even throttle it down to like 45 kilowatts. It's what the charging speed. But some of the other ones that you pay for, you can get 75 to 150 kilowatts, which only takes, is anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes to charge completely, from like if you had no battery at all, no electric in the battery, all the way full, anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, which is not bad. I've never done that. You have to pay for those. I'm too much of a cheapskate. I go for the free ones and the house. So that's my answer for that one.
So what happens if you get stuck in traffic and your battery is low? Are you going to end up stranded like cars that run out of gas?
I love this one because, there's nothing really going on. It's minimal battery usage for just the computer and the electronic system, and being ready to go whenever you're ready. When you're actually moving is when you use more electricity, and when you're moving, the slower you're moving, the more efficient you are. So we've been actually stuck in traffic for an hour and a half, one time with the air conditioning on, and nothing was moving. We just sat there and
didn't hardly use any battery at all.
Yeah, it was less than 1% of the battery usage, and that's mostly for the air conditioning. If we had no air conditioning, we wouldn't even use hardly any, very little. Don't even notice it. It's minimal. So it's not really a concern. That's the concern you have with a gas car. With an electric car, that's not even an issue.
Yeah, in fact, being stuck in traffic is your friend as far as your battery goes.
Can I tell this story?
I don't care.
270 from Frederick down to DC. I used to dread that when I was in a car, even not even with a clutch, but just, back and forth, braking, you're braking and accelerating, braking, accelerating all the time. And my right leg would be so tired. And now it's a dream. I put it on not autopilot, but I put it on lane keeping assist, and I put it on smart cruise, so it stays at a distance between you and the car in front of you, and slows down accordingly, and speeds up when it speeds up. So I don't have to do anything with the pedals at all.
Shall we demonstrate that on 81?
Oh, do you want to go to 81?
We can.
Okay. So it'll do its own thing. In fact, it'll steer. If I let go of the steering wheel, it'll keep myself in line and keep me in track with the lane, so that I don't have to do anything, but I just hold on to the steering wheel in case.
Because it will tell you, it'll beep at you if you let go for too long.
Yeah, it doesn't want you to be it doesn't want to be unattended, so I make sure it knows I'm still here. But yeah, the amazing thing is how little there's no electricity used. Basically, there's no electricity used when you're stuck in traffic. That's an issue for a gas-powered car.
So how much does it cost to charge your car battery?
Depends on how much you charge for your charge or paying for electricity. For my battery, it's 64 kilowatt battery is the size of the Kona. It takes, I think we pay it, is it 8 cents per kilowatt hour?
About 8 cents per kilowatt.
And so it's about $5 and something per charge.
$5.12 you wrote.
Okay, $5.12. I'm not looking at my notes. Okay.
Good, drive.
Yeah. So about $5. But then again, if you're in, like, I think Maryland has some places in some states have cheaper rates at nighttime. They have special rates or tiered rates. So if you're charging it at a lower rate, you might get a better deal than that. But anyway, right now we're transitioning. We just transitioned to solar, so now we don't have any electrical costs for charging the car. I charged my car the other day.
In the middle of the day.
And we were still pumping out to the grid with our house usage in the car and everything else. We were still having plenty to push out to the grid. So that's not even a concern anymore on how much the cost of electricity is, because we're getting solar for free.
So go Kona and go solar.
Go Kona, go solar, yeah.
Well, what about maintenance costs? What are they like?
Maintenance, the only thing I've had this car for a year. Wait a minute, got it in April. What is this? This is September. May, June, July, August. So I've had it for 17 months. Okay, it's a little over, almost a year and a half. The only maintenance cost I've had is a bottle of windshield washer fluid. That's all. That's it. Nothing else.
No oil changes, no antifreeze or coolant,
Nope.
no exhaust system or catalytic converter. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Nope.
So you can drive by Jiffy Lube and say, don't need you.
Yep, I'll see you later. I'll come back with my my other car.
Gas-powered car.
The bad one, right? Yeah, you don't have any of those expenses, which add up a lot. You know, each oil change, I think on the when the Prius, we had the Prius Prime, I think the oil changes were like
Every
40
10,000 miles.
or $50 a piece or something. Anyway, it was it adds up, and you put that along with your gasoline bill, and that's a chunk of money every month, and we don't have that. That's not even. It's not. Yeah, we're using that money for other things now. Anyway.
Okay, so last question I have here. Is there anything about the Kona Electric you would want to change?
Yeah, okay. Yes, I would.
Hey, can I go first since I'm back
Oh,
here?
sure.
Since Brian's really, really tall, leg room is kind of tight. If you're sitting behind him, there's more room on the passenger side if the person is shorter. So that's something that, as his family, we would change. Because we ride the back, he doesn't, he drives.
Right, I drive it, so I'm good. I'm good with it. No, but if I were in the back seat, it would be better to have more leg room.
Yeah, leg room up front is fine. Not a problem at all, even for Brian.
Yeah.
He's 6'1".
Yep. So that the leg room doesn't really affect me that much.
And there's good headroom, too.
Yeah, that's true. I use it. I use the car basically for my work car, so I'm driving it solo all over the countryside. It's like I said, up to 250 miles a day, but and I did 140 yesterday, so that's why I didn't charge it last night. That's why I've only gotten down to 173. Oh no. Yeah.
No range anxiety here.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, and if Brian doesn't have range anxiety,
I know.
I can't imagine anybody else that
ba-
would have a need to.
I'm the battery freak. I'm like, I have this big battery attached to my phone, right, so it doesn't run out. But I don't really have a concern with the Kona running out. Because after I got it, when I first got it, I was like concerned for a couple of weeks. But then it just hit me. It's like, wow, I could do the whole day with not having to stop and charge anywhere. So it was not, that issue became null and void.
Right, even when you go to D.C. in the morning and Baltimore in the afternoon and Frederick in the evening and then back home.
I think that one long trip was from home here in Pennsylvania down to down the eastern shore of Maryland, and then back up into up in Towson, and then down to Frederick, and then home. It was all over the place.
You still had 22 miles of range left.
Yep, 342 on the car that day, and 22 miles left. So I don't have those concerns anymore. It doesn't really, it hasn't really happened. And if it does, there are plenty of chargers all over the place. A lot of them are free. The level 2s, like I have at home, are free. The level 3 charging, you have to pay for that convenience. But
except Hagerstown.
Except Hagerstown and Baltimore. All the public libraries in Baltimore and some of the locations in Baltimore, some of the parks in Baltimore have them. Now they tether down the speed of charging. There's one in Baltimore that is only charging at 25 kilowatts, which is, well, it's 3 times faster than at home, but it's still slow for a fast charger. But it works. I think it works great, and it's not something I have to wonder about stopping and charging every time I go anywhere.
So back to what you would change.
What would I change? Oh, I would change this button here. I'm always hitting it. I always have a cup or something here in the cup holder, and I put something down here, and it always hits this button and hits this seat heater. Now, it doesn't usually hit the cooler, which is a nice feature in the summertime. They have cooled seats or heated seats in the front.
Just to be clear, he's not drinking the hand sanitizer.
No, that's...
Well, you said I'll put my drink here.
If I have a drink in the cup holder, I'll just use this as an example, not that I'm going to drink out of it.
Good to know.
But I would change this button right here, because I'm always hitting it. Not always, but often enough I hit it to realize, oh, that's why the seat's getting hot. Right, like right now, it's getting warm because of
81 day.
Oh, 81. That's right. So that's with the Kona. Any other questions?
That was the last question.
That was the last question prepared. Yep. was thinking, oh, other people have asked me, why did you buy a Kona instead of a Tesla? And
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think initially I was looking at a Tesla, the Model S. They were out for several years and looking at a used Model S and everything, but the expense of it was pretty high, number one. So we would have a more hefty car payment than what we had with the Kona. Thanks to my wife, she budgets everything. We got it paid off in
7 months.
7 months. So she socked that money away and got it all paid. And
I threw money at it like crazy.
Yeah. So the Tesla, we would have had a car payment for a lot longer and a lot bigger car payment for a longer time. But then I think the real kick on it was our insurance. Tesla offers insurance, but only at that time it was only for people who lived in California. So we didn't even qualify, couldn't even get Tesla insurance through Tesla, because they did have what's considered a competitive rate. Our insurance company, we priced getting a used Tesla with a VIN number that I had, and it would have cost over 3 times the amount of money that we're paying for insurance that was on the Prius, 3 times per month, which at that time I think it was like $80 a month we were paying. So it was over $240, $250 something a month just for insurance on a Tesla.
And we live in rural Pennsylvania, so
yeah, that's just not.
Imagine if you lived in the city, it'd been way higher than that.
A lot more, yeah. I guess it's based on where you live and how far you are from a Tesla repair shop, because that's a huge factor too.
That's the other thing. You have to wait forever to get a repair.
The other thing, I mean, I like Tesla is the concept of it and everything, and the design and everything is awesome, but the fact that you can't easily get parts and do your own repair. Not that I enjoy repairing on my car, I don't. But if push comes to shove and I need to do something that needs to be done quickly, I don't want to have to take it into a repair shop or drive it down to a repair shop and then have to wait for it for sometimes weeks or months in some repair cases. For it to be done, and then have a huge bill with it because I have to pay the labor on top of it. You can't. Tesla doesn't want you doing your own labor. It doesn't make the money. Anyway, that's not saying bad about Tesla. That's just the reality of Tesla,
and it just didn't suit us and our needs and our lifestyle and so forth.
More expensive outlay for the car. Number two, the insurance would have cost us an arm and a leg more than what we were paying for all of our insurance on all our cars, all 4 cars at that time. And then just the fact that it's restrictive, very restrictive in what you can do with the Tesla in terms of repairing it. So
if anybody's wondering what that little gray thing is above the steering wheel, that's actually a head-up display. Now you can't see unless you take it. There, that's the head-up display. So that's a really cool feature, so you don't have to take your eyes down too far on the dash to see what your speed and so forth is. And you can, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can select what things you want in your head-up display as well.
And where it's at, and you can
adjust how high or low it is on the screen.
And the size of the print and everything,
So that's pretty cool.
That is.
Now talk about your little range thing on the
map.
My
range thing. Oh, I love this map. This map will tell me exactly how far I can go. I can see, right now, I have enough miles on my car, enough battery charge. Let me get in the right lane here before I do anything. Right now I've got enough battery change to get to Philadelphia or up to Troy, New York, or Pittsburgh, or this shows the area my battery can take me in the United States right now.
So that'll change according to what range is left under your battery. It'll widen out when it's fully charged and go narrower in when your battery's low.
And it's pretty good. I mean, when I'm fully charged, I can go up to Toronto on a full charge. And it's pretty accurate too. The guessometer, they call it, the predicted range that I have available is usually pretty good, and it recalculates as you drive. If you're driving more carefully, it'll actually add numbers and give you a longer range. And if you're not so careful, it will take those miles away.
Once we get going to, maybe you can show them the regenerative.
Level 2, the paddles. Okay.
Yeah, the paddles and how they work.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing about the Kona is that you can choose what standard setting you want it to be at when you start out, and you can adjust you can do it. You can do driving without touching any of the paddles if you want. You don't have to touch the brake at all. And there's paddles behind the steering wheel. They're back behind here, and they adjust how much resistance goes through the electric motor back into your battery. So it's actually using your motor not just to drive and propel forward, but it regenerates electricity to go back and
to hold the car back when you want to slow down.
To charge your car while it's holding your car back to slow down. So yeah, it's more efficient that way. And then it adds miles, especially if you're going downhill, or if you come up to a long stop, you can just touch the brake slightly or use your paddle on the left side to slow yourself and ease down, and you can get a lot more miles that way.
You can actually gain miles as you're driving.
Yeah, it's different. I have it on 0
Can't
right
do
now.
that in a gas car.
No, I know. That's one guy I was reading about it. He says his first trip was in an electric car, and they only had a few miles of range, and they went to the top of the mountain, and they had it was down to like 1 or 2 miles. And he says, how are we going to get home? Don't worry, we're going downhill the whole way. And sure enough, got down to the bottom of the hill and had 20 miles left. Electric cars will gain miles as you're going downhill if they have regenerative braking, or regenerative braking. But a gas car, you would never be able to do that. Once you out of gas at the top, you coast to the bottom. You don't have any more gas. You got just that limited amount of. But electric car will actually build your power back up, and you have that much more range to go. All right, so here we are on Interstate 81.
This is eco mode, but we're still feeling the torque.
Yeah, it's a lot faster when I put it in sport mode.
Do that at a light or a stop sign when you come out. It usually makes the tires squeal a little bit.
Yeah,
like
it will. So
I actually had a friend of mine say that somebody told her that they could never have an electric car where they live because it was very mountainous where they live. She says you'll never be able to get up a hill.
Oh, yeah.
And she believed her, and she asked me that, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Yeah. Okay, let's go for a drive. Let me show you what the torque is on this.
It goes
yes,
up the
you
hill.
will go up a hill, no problem.
Yep. That really steep hill, I forget what they call that street that's behind us that we go walking. I want to take the Kona up there. Yeah, I want to take it up there and see what it's like.
It's very steep.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or Stein. That's pretty steep.
But it does really well. I like how it handles. It does well in the wintertime.
Passes true.
Oh, yeah. Let me put it in sport mode here.
Oh, here we go. Sounds a little bit like an airplane taking off.
So, anything else?
Oh no, we're at 28-minute video. So.
28 minutes? Oh boy.
Yeah.
I wonder if you wanted it under half an hour, because we're not gonna make it. No, actually we will. We can do that. Anyway, if there's any other questions, feel free to contact the coordinator of this event, and he will get back with us and let you know whatever we can. But I like the car. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I would go for a car with even better range, but you know, I'm happy with this one as it is now. So thank you all for coming.
Bye.
It's currently charging. It always shows what the level of charge is outside here as it's charging. Notice there's no grill, no need for one. There's a little bit of an air intake at the bottom. There's no radiator, so there's no engine heat. It's really very low maintenance. Lilac bush here I'm going against. So that's the Kona electric. It I just plugged it in to show you the charge. I don't need to charge. I'm not going anywhere today or tomorrow or the next day. So anyway, I'll go ahead and take that out. I'm gonna unplug, or have to unlock the car first. I just got the email telling me my charge has stopped for some reason. I just plugged it in for a couple minutes to see what, to show you what it looked like. So that's my Kona. I like the car. I really love the car, actually. There's things about it I would change, a few maybe, but all in all, it's been a good car. It's been really good. We also don't have any cost for electricity now because we have our solar panels up. 3 banks of solar panels, which produce everything we need for the house and for the car and even more. So I think we're good. Anyway, hopefully you'll think about the Kona if you're interested in an electric car. I'm not a proponent of brand name, but it is an affordable car. I drive a lot of miles, and so it's paid off for me rather quickly.